Financial partners, Don and Gino.
Thank you very much. Thank you for joining the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show. Elvis has left the building.
Hey, with that new booming voice, Shannon, I'm going to need you to turn him down a little bit.
Thank you again for joining us on the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show every Thursday, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Your most informative 2 hours of the week. I know it's our most fun 2 hours every week, and we thank you for joining us again right here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHCS, or go to donandgino.com, click on the Listen and Chat Live, and you will enter the vault.
Yep, the Vault is the hub for all of our information. There you can access our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, or even just some great posts that we make right on the page itself. There's kind of some blog posts and things that are really interesting on the page itself.
And sometimes it's just some fun stuff, plain and simple. So
our Facebook page is probably the best place for fun. So just like us. Don says we like to be liked.
Yeah, we're very sensitive, so like us. We'd love you to join us, and especially today. Today we have some really great guests. Very, very excited, and already excited to have you guys back. I'll tell you that, and we haven't even started. So we have Casey Kirkman and Ben Strength with Affordable Quality Moving and Storage, AQMS. And what's really exciting is, we're going to get Casey in right away and stuff, because I just recently saw that AQMS was ranked like the top 3 in the nation. Am I right?
Yeah, about 2 years ago, we split a company from Mayflower, which is a pretty well recognized name in the moving and storage industry. And we won the smaller national van lines. They're based out of Chicago, Illinois. And we came in guns a-blazing, and they allowed us to get a little more competitive pricing. We always had the great service. And long-distance moves go off a tariff, so Mayflower had a little higher pricing. So when we came into national, it was just a perfect fit. It was just one of those things where it paid off. We did a lot of research. We interviewed with all the major van lines and went with more of a boutique and customer-friendly van line. And I think there's about 300 or 400 agents. We're number 3 in the country right now. So representing City of Santa Cruz on the national level. Yeah.
Right here in the vault, number 3. That's pretty cool. I'd like to get our Cherry Creek to be number 3 in the nation. How about that?
We're not too bad. We're number 22. We got to keep pumping it up.
Cherry Creek in general, but we're actually in the top 5 in the country.
That's awesome.
Cherry Creek
right
now. So of course, thanks to a lot of you out there giving us the opportunity to help you out with your financing. You're making dreams come true.
Yeah, and we've been doing that really. I mean, one of the really nice things that we get to enjoy here at Cherry Creek Mortgage is every single morning I get to send you surveys, Don. They come to me almost every single morning, tens across the board, super happy. Everybody's got nice things to say about the staff and sometimes about me. I don't know why. But
I think you write them, Gino. And send it to them.
I edit them before I send them to you, Don.
No doubt.
But it's really nice. It's a great way to start your morning. Cherry Creek's nice enough to send those to me at like 4:55 a.m. And
it's a good way to start your day, though.
Yeah, Don and I are on the way to the gym at that time of day, and it's like, oh, great. Just got another fantastic survey. So
all right. Well, thanks for the tee up. All right, Casey and Ben, let's start with that, because we know in general, we'll go into some details of what your company can do for a lot of you out there, meaning what your services are. But let's talk about the main thing. I know why people would want to come back to Cherry Creek Mortgage and why they would want to use AQMS, because I know personally, it's your personal items that are being moved. Regardless of how much it is or how expensive it is, it's important to us. As we move, 100%. All these items are endear, to us, or we don't want them broken because we can't replace them.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I know the last moving company I worked with, I thought they were going to be great, and it was just, honestly, it was a nightmare, and I wish I would have known about, it was before you got involved with AQMS, because you got involved, 2006?
Yeah, 8 years ago, yep.
Okay. So I didn't have that luxury, so I used a different, out of the area, another mistake. I always use local companies because they're accountable to this little bubble we have
100%.
here. Because if you don't do a good job here, you're adios. I'm sorry, you're out of business, plain and simple.
Especially in the city of Santa Clarita, very tight-knit community.
Exactly. So you guys work really hard on the customer service side of following up. Why don't you guys go into those details? Because I know, Ben, you were mentioning at the break that you don't actually get to sleep much.
It's like having a baby.
Yeah, we have been on a short leash. Ben came to us from, kind of that Starbucks mentality, heavy in customer service, thinking outside the box, making sure, each customer, you do your follow-ups and get the feedback, like Gino was saying. You might not always want the news, but I would much rather know that a customer wasn't 100% satisfied and fix it and deal with a little bit of trouble and cleaning up if there was an employee had a bad day, or there was just someone dinged a door jam or whatnot. But Ben is a very pivotal part of our operation, because he talks to every customer. He follows up on
every customer. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that.
He really does. He does an amazing job for us, and he's also going to be. He's done such a great job doing that. During the summer, we do about 60% of our business in about the next 4 months, because all the kids,
really?
all the kids are out of school. Everybody's been planning their move. Whether they sold their house 3 or 4 months ago, maybe they rented, they did a month. They're in an apartment. Everybody's going to move now, and so Ben goes through and follows up on every estimate and in every move that we do. And if for some reason they can't give us a 5-star rating, he wants to know about it and how we can make it right. So if Ben wants to go in on a little bit of his follow-up, and it's very similar to what Gino was talking about. We want to know, and I think, not to sound cheesy as a business owner, as a sales rep, is, communication. Yep. I think at the end of the day, we use the analogy, of a restaurant. We both know Greg Amsler at Salt Creek,
Greg.
and in my opinion, it's one of the most consistent restaurants
100%.
there is.
100%.
But you go in there 20 times, and you might have a steak that's undercooked or overcooked, or this maybe a server's having a bad day. I think Greg would agree that the worst thing that can happen is you walk out of there mad, because what happens is you go and tell 10 people that you
all
had a bad
know
steak,
that's there,
right? Yeah. So I would much rather anyone that's ever moved with us that isn't 100% satisfied, or I would rather them call me directly, let me know how I can fix it, and we'll handle what's appropriate and making them 100% happy.
So you're talking a big word called accountability.
It's a very scary word for some people, that especially people in this industry. It's a different type of mentality in some of the movers that you deal with. Some of them, nothing against them, but some of them have grown up on a truck, and they're willing to split hairs over $50, over something damaged or whatnot, where we're looking at a big picture. We truly do want a customer for life. If I move you, I want to move your entire family. I want to move all your friends for as long as we're in business. So Ben, why don't you go a little bit of what we do on follow up and kind of what your job duties?
Yeah, because I know you're pretty proud of this, which is really cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to sell a brand that you don't care about, and it's hard to sell a product that you don't believe in. And I think for me, coming out of I've done a lot of traveling, done a lot of different jobs in my life. Like Casey said, a lot of customer service-based jobs, and that's one thing I really always noticed was so many businesses have such a lack of character when it comes to dealing with the customer. They want to push a product, but they don't want to have to be 100% accountable for whatever that product ends up being at the end point. In the beginning, it's easy to sell a car, but is the engine going to fall out when you're driving, and how are you going to respond to that? I think the thing with with follow-ups for us has been pivotal. We'll call the customer midway through the move traditionally. That allows us to kind of get a sense of where the move is at. A lot of times, you can avoid a fire if you put it out early.
Good point.
So our crews, I've hired, I've recruited, we've done an incredible job going through different organizations, colleges, churches in the area to find guys who are looking for an opportunity to make something of their life, guys we give a chance to, guys we believe in. And I think with follow-up, I know who I've sent out there. It's a relationship. We're a family-owned company. It's not a big corporate conglomerate company that doesn't even know the individual or they're stamped a number. Like, we know these guys. We know their families. We know what they're doing and the product that they're delivering out there. So when I follow up, a lot of times I'm just talking to the customer going, I almost ask them sometimes, how great is your move going? And when they say anything else, I get a little surprised. But one thing that Casey has really pushed for me to ask on these customers is, was there anything about your move that you were unsatisfied with? Was there any reason you couldn't give us a 5-star rating? And the reason we do that's a scary question to ask. Because if they're happy, you can let them go.
Right.
Sometimes when you've got 7 movers in your house, you're going to say, I'm fine. Because you've got 7 movers in your house. So we'll also do a follow-up call later that evening, traditionally. And what we'll do is we'll try to call and find out after the movers have left what the situation is. Because sometimes you'll run into a customer who says, oh, the move is fine. And you almost have to push to find out exactly what happened. Because a lot of times for our customers, we know they're moving every 3 to 6 years. We know their neighbors are moving every 3 to 6 years. Their family's moving. And so we don't just want their move. We want their friends' move. We want their families' move. We want people from work, people from church, what have you. And so what we run into is people saying, you know what, this was a small thing that bothered me. And it's a simple fix. It's going out there and repairing a piece of drywall or taking a washer and dryer knob and delivering it out to their house, what have you. And
yeah,
what we realized,
that.
No, I know, right? You didn't get that call.
I think what's funny is you mentioned about that. What's funny is that you guys are absolutely right. Those little things that seem like no big deal, but every time I look at it, I think of them, and it's not fondly. Exactly. And it's little. It's no big deal, but it was just like we don't know where it went. I'm like, well, it could only be from our house to your truck to our house. How did it disappear? Yeah. You know, and they're just
they didn't have any use for it. It's not like
I know. It's just
they had the same washer and dryer you did.
It just felt like they didn't care what you're talking about, Ben. Exactly. And if you just tune in, we're here with Casey Kirkman and Ben Strink with AQMS Moving and Storage, and it's all about caring.
Agreed.
You know, one thing that we have to take into consideration is how sensitive a time it is as well 100%. In someone's life. I mean, that's why something so small that you would look at as insignificant, right? Because really, I mean, come on, a washer and dryer knob, it's insignificant in the grand scheme of things. But because how sensitive a time it is in someone's life, how stressful it is, there's usually people are still trying to manage their jobs, still trying to manage their kids, and they've got to manage this move. They had to deal with their mortgage and real estate and the seller and the buyer and all this craziness. You know, you're just catching them at the end of the rope, too, where they've just been strung along this whole 30
imagine
days.
how frustrated they are if they didn't use Cherry Creek Mortgage.
Yeah, we get that.
Shameless plug.
We have to talk them off the ledge a lot when they haven't done that.
Yeah, so I think it's just a sensitive time in people's lives as well.
Yeah, it's. I used the analogy with someone the other day. They were talking about the moving industry, and they're not from it. And I said, you know, sometimes there are people, and we all know it in whatever industry in that you really truly can't make happy. They're just their expectations. They're the person when you're getting your car washed and you walk out of there, they slam the door, there's one drip, they're calling the manager over and they want them to, you know, rewash the car, and that's going to happen. And some of those people under the gun of moving, it gets it's almost you know, unbearable for them, you know, the stress level of it. And that's why we have guys like Ben who can deal with people during the move, why they're stressed out, explain to them in the big picture, and, you know, and try to make it, you know, try to make a bad situation good. You know, a buddy of mine's a dentist, and I asked him how many follow-up and thank you calls he has after root canal, and he doesn't get a lot. And moving's kind of the same thing, you know. Very rarely are you calling and saying, "Wow, that was a great move," because it's a stressful day.
All right, good stuff from Casey Kirkman and Ben Strink with Affordable Quality Moving and Storage, AQMS. We're going to talk more about why you need to use a local company that cares and why Casey is known as Mr. Community when we come back.